What strengthens our relationship with God is obviously a meal, the Eucharist, a communion around a table. And so we ask ourselves, what will strengthen a relationship between a couple? Well, I've got a perfect recipe that will strengthen their love for each other and definitely strengthen their love for God. Coming up right here on Savoring Our Faith. For this episode, I am so excited to be at home with Jim and Joy Pinto. You all are obviously regulars to the EWTN family, and it's so great to have you here. And what we're going to be doing is cooking a special meal for them. We're going to do, first of all, starting off with a dessert, a cheesecake. But it's not going to be just any cheesecake. It's going to be a chocolate chip Oreo with a little hint of spice cheesecake. Then we are going to, for the main meal, be serving up a spinach Alfredo. Creamy, delicious, infused with a little bit of white wine, some garlic, some aromatics. It'll be a perfect blend for a very unique dish. And I'm going to turn a bell pepper into a vegetable cup that's going to hold some cola chicken skewers, which are going to be basically sauteed and marinated with some balsamic vinegar, some cardamom, and just a whole bunch of other deliciousness. So this is what we're going to be doing, and we've got to actually start off with the dessert, but I can't tell you how happy I am that you're here. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you, Father. It's our pleasure.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to have you here, especially since you're going to help me out. All right? So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with you pulling off these, this is kind of like what your kids did, right? How many kids do you have, by the way?
4.
4 children?
12 grandchildren.
Okay, so you're an Oreo, you know Oreo, right? So just rip off one of these. You can keep a little bit of the cream, put it as the bottom base of these cups that I've got going, and then I'm going to take the rest of these and chop these up because they're going to be put in the mix here. Now, you know, your work is obviously important because you work with kind of strengthening families, don't you?
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about what you do.
Well, on our show, it's At Home with Jim and Joy. We just kind of say, like what you're doing here. We welcome them into our home, into our lives. And we discuss the sanctity of the human person, the sanctity of the institution of marriage and of the family.
It's awesome.
And that marriage and family is God's plan to transform the world. So any issue they want to speak about, any comments they want to make, any questions they might have, you know, it's just let's sit around, let's talk together, and we'll share with you about the 41 years we've been together, 35 years married.
That is amazing.
And our children and our grandchildren, the joys and the sorrows. And we do that with a sense of victory because we know that life, marriage, and family win.
Wow. I mean, you sound like one of my episodes. This one, in fact, because this is exactly what I want to do. I want to strengthen, thank you very much, I want to strengthen relationships around the table. And if there's one thing that I think a lot of couples forget is that sense of joy. You know, and let me ask you, what do you enjoy most in your own family? And I'm going to just chop this up, put it all in here. I've got some cream cheese, I've got some chocolate chips, and so I'm just going to basically mix this all up. But let me ask you, what makes you joyful in your own home, in your own marriage?
2 things: peace, love, and then a lot of food.
Wait a minute, that's 3 things. That's all right, I know exactly what you mean. And kind of when you think about it, it really serves as a unity. You know, you can only have a sense of peace if there is love there, and that sense of love and that peace is basically going to come together beautifully around the table because you don't eat with people you don't like, right?
That's right.
All right, so here, let me tell you what I'm doing because this looks like a little bit of a mess, but since when is marriage mess-free, right?
There you go.
So what I've got is just some chocolate melted down. And let me put this off to the side. You can lick that. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that.
I would.
Yeah, you would. I know.
That would have been fun.
And so I'm just basically going to put this back on the double broiler to kind of get it mixed up a little bit better. And this is going to sit basically in these cupcakes with the Oreo cookie serving as a base. All right, this is working out nicely. And what I'm going to do now is add some sugar, about a quarter maybe not a quarter cup, maybe about 1/8 of a cup of sugar, pinch of salt, and then I'm also going to crack an egg in here. And I gotta be careful so I don't scramble the eggs. And then we're just gonna mix this all together. So egg number 1, egg number 2, and then a little bit of vanilla extract as well. Now, this is a little bit of a miracle for me because I usually don't make desserts. Are you dessert lovers, and who cooks in the family?
We both cook. But,
Do you really?
I do a lot of cooking, and we like desserts. And this looks fabulous, Father. I've never made this.
You know, we were on our honeymoon some 35 years ago. At the end of our honeymoon, 5 or 6 days into it, I said, you know, Joy, there are some things that I just need in terms of food as an Italian, you know? And so for the last 2 days, we visited my great aunt, Zia, and we visited my sister, Camille. Who else did we go to see, honey?
That was it. We went to Camille and Auntie's.
And she learned how to cook.
And I was taking notes on my honeymoon.
So romance and food really do go together. Because if you can't have a good sauce, a good Italian sauce, from that everything else comes. Joy learned how to cook. She gets better and better.
And you love her more. And you know, I think that's one of the things too, is feeding each other is an act of love. In the same way, if you starve someone, you gotta ask yourself, do I really love them enough that I want them to go hungry? You know, obviously, no, you don't love them at all if you want them to go hungry. All right, so this kind of looks like a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit this with just, here we go. A little bit of cayenne pepper. This is what I'm going to do. And I know this is kind of strange, but chocolate and spice go great together because it actually parallels the book that I think you all are going to enjoy. It's called Spicing Up Married Life. It's the book that I wrote to strengthen relationships around the table. 12 chapters so that you celebrate a month anniversary, as opposed to an anniversary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, so look, this is basically done. Now what I'm going to ask you to do is have a little bit of fun and scoop out just a little bit in each one of these things right here, so that we can,
How much?
yeah, just about that. Perfect. Just about a tablespoon, one of those serving spoons. And we're just going to get you all to finish that up. We're going to pop that in the oven. We've got this oven already preheated at 350 degrees. It'll take about 20-25 minutes max to cook. Give it some chance to cool down. The cream cheese and the chocolate are going to meld beautifully together. That spice, that's okay if it gets a little bit messy. Remember, marriage is hardly perfectly neat. And the more mess that you make, the more your loved one gets to clean up and shows just how much they love you. They'll even clean up your mess. Right? This is looking good, guys. So we're going to get that in the oven in just a few minutes and then on to the main course. When we think of romantic suppers, remember that romance isn't only a physical thing. It is also a spiritual thing. And one thing to help couples remember that is to do something physical, like eat together. Because when they eat together, they can talk with each other about the things that make them love each other more. And so in a romantic meal, it's not just about eating, it's also about praying. All right, here with Jim and Joy Pinto, and it is a joy to have you. And we've got some chicken that we're going to put together. Now, you all generally eat Italian food, or what kind of food do you like to eat?
Basically Italian. I do a lot of cooking, and Jim likes to eat, and we have the children and the grandchildren, and we all gather around the dining room table, and we literally stay there for hours.
Okay, for hours.
Hours.
What do you do for hours at the dinner table? Now, I know the answer, but I mean...
We eat and we talk, we laugh, everybody gets to tell stories, everybody has a place at the table.
And we really allow everybody to share, you know, if we can speak, you know, and we take time and we're still and we let each child and each person share, and people really listen to one another, because eating's about, intimacy time. It's a real intimate time to be together, to listen, to share one another's stories, the joys, the sorrows, whatever's going on, and it helps each person feel so important. When all the adults stop, everybody stops, and the child speaks.
That's exactly right. I mean, I think that's a lost art in a way in our culture, and I kind of have to go back to the roots of just what people forgot to do. You know, going back to the roots of it all, people need to remember to eat together. Yes. I'm gonna do a quick rinse on my hands as I was just dealing with some chicken because I'm gonna marinate all of this next as well. So, do you eat together every day or?
Every day.
Do you really?
And I cook dinner every night at 5:30, raising those 4 kids every night.
Was it easy?
No.
No, it wasn't easy.
But it was what I did.
Yeah.
But our kids learned, you know, that we sit down for breakfast, we sit down for supper. You know, when they got older, it was athletic things, this and that, and that, you know, we just, that's non-negotiable. We're together, whether you like it or not. Usually they do like it. Sometimes they don't. But, you know, we're all together, and we really believe that this world can be transformed if people would just sit down 4 or 5 times out of the week
No doubt.
and have dinner together, and we still shut the TV off and radio off and just speak and be with one another.
Absolutely. Now, I think this will be very different from what you normally eat because I put in some cardamom, salt, pepper, as well as some red pepper flakes. So it's going to be pretty spicy. Just a little dab of balsamic vinegar. I'm also going to add to this a little bit of ketchup. I know that that's kind of strange, but it's a great binder and a great way to kind of help thicken things up. And then to this marinade, I'm also going to add some sweetness, which is going to blend well with cardamom. I'm just going to use some regular cola.
Really?
I know, it's strange.
It's strange.
It's very strange. But, you know, then you can just mix this with a little bit of, you know, vodka and tonic at the end, and then you have a little bit of drink. And I kind of I opened this up about in the afternoon so that it didn't basically, some of the fizz is kicked out of it. And here, all I'm going to do is just get this marinating, and then I'm going to skewer them out. And then while we're doing this, I'm gonna just make sure I wash my knife down because I'm gonna do some vegetable chopping and prepping. And I think you're going to enjoy this very unique set of flavors and the presentation as well.
This is like the engagement time, where there's preparation, and then we're going to get on to the marriage of consuming it.
I love it. Boy, you're just speaking good food theological language. And I do mention that to people as well, that the marriage is going to be ratified at the point of the consummation of the marriage. And that's a real beautiful thought. Now, these are kind of thick, and that's okay because they are going to finish their cooking process in the oven. And we're not going to get rid of this sauce because it's going to become basically delicious glaze as well. But I'm going to put about 2 skewers per person, make an extra one just in case somebody wants to, you know, get a little midnight snack going.
I have seen your show, and you do make good portions. I like that.
Yeah, you know why? Because God is generous, and I don't want to be known as a cheap chef, so to speak. So let me finish skewering this up. We're gonna hit it onto the grill pan and just cook it down just a little bit to get some of that charring going, and then you'll see what I do with this pepper. I'm gonna turn it into a cup so that these can settle into them. It'll be beautiful, especially with the different colors that's gonna come from the Alfredo sauce as well. All right, so what I just did and started sauteing all these down. You can see that it's not yet cooked, but it's developing that deep flavor from the caramelizing. You can smell it, right? It smells good? I know, it's kind of crazy. Put the pepper down on here just to cook a little bit as well. And I'm gonna actually stuff the peppers with the onions and the chicken. I'm gonna put it right here and throw it in the oven. We'll see how it looks. And the sauce itself, we did not want to throw away. In fact, we kind of just reduced it, but it's actually kind of seasoning up the onions right now. So put this all in here. It'll kind of be a fun presentation, kind of whimsical, kind of fun, and hopefully, most importantly, kind of delicious, right?
How much longer does it cook in the oven?
You know, only about 15 more minutes max.
Okay.
And so what we're gonna do now is just take the skewers themselves, stick them right in here. you're gonna probably have to make sure that they're balanced out so that they don't fall over. Like that one looks like it's ready to do. Nope, good, we saved it. Hey, I don't want to get greedy, but we're gonna throw 3 of them in there. Yes, we pray here, grace before meals, that that it'll all stay together. But here's the beauty. The chicken will continue to emit its juices, and it'll continue to soften up the onions themselves. Let's get that balanced. Oh yes.
Bravo.
Wow, now let's pray. Let's get this into the oven, and it'll give us a chance to also check the cheesecake with one of my other skewers. Let me come right in here. Okay, and we're gonna keep it at 350-degree oven. Uh-oh, don't turn over, don't turn over. That's all right, save the day. Let's move this out of the way, put these in here, and let's give a check on the cheesecake themselves.
That looks delicious.
Yeah, I think the cheesecakes are just about right. They puffed up just a little bit. Let me come around to you. Excuse me. There we go. Perfect. Let's see what this is gonna be like. So we just check it to make sure that when we pull it out, oh, it's still in need of a little bit of cooking, but that just gave me an excuse to do that. So we'll put this back in here, and we will start now with the Alfredo sauce infused with some spinach and white wine. Oftentimes when we think of romantic meals, we think, what would a priest really know about this? Well, our Lord and Savior knew something about it all, because the first miracle that he performed was at a romantic event, the wedding feast of Cana. It shows how couples need to always invite God in their relationship. What we're gonna do now is put together the Alfredo sauce, and my style of cooking is fusion, which is sometimes what people call confusion. but it's just basically a combination of some Italian with that cola pork skewer, a little bit of an Asian, obviously, the American Coca-Cola. It'll add some sweetness to the cream, and I think you are going to enjoy it. So we're just gonna dice up some peppers. I mean, not a pepper, this is an onion, and I know that. I sometimes forget the basics.
You're just testing us.
Well, but like this whole forgetfulness, sometimes we get so busy in our relationships that we just forget the basics. So if you were to give couples some advice on what makes basically a good relationship, throw in some butter, of course, what makes a good relationship, in your opinion? The basics.
Being kind.
Huh, isn't that easy to forget? You know, when you're like super busy. I can understand that, so we're gonna keep mincing this. What would you say there, Jim?
From the spiritual standpoint, I used to relate to Joy. We dated 6 years before we were married. Relate to her directly, but I don't do that anymore. I relate to her through the mediation of Jesus, so I have no right to think, speak, or touch her without going through Jesus. And I know when I'm doing that, and I know when I'm not doing that. So I think that's critical, that you don't own your wife.
Isn't that interesting?
Man needs respect, and the woman needs respect as well. So I think respect and reverence is very important, as well as just fun and joy and all those
I
good
think,
things.
you're right. I think people forget that marriage is requires 3 people, the man, the woman, and then God himself. And I just think that when people forget that God is love and forget to invite God into that relationship, then they really forget some of the most important basics of a relationship, that it's about faithfulness.
Isn't that what the Eucharist is about? Jesus said, remember.
Yeah.
Why did he say remember? Because you forget. That's why we don't get baptized again and again. We remember through a meal. And the same thing could happen in our meals together. We remember our love and the covenant we made.
Absolutely. And one of the things I think about relationships that can be strengthened is just sharing something that's intimate. So like for the book that I have, it's kind of funny because I have the couples cooking together. And I thought that I would get a few couples who want to taste test the recipe testers. But I had like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people trying to apply for the taste tester role, and what they all said was the food was awesome, but what was better was coming together. They hadn't done anything like that for a long, long time, and that kind of makes me sad because, again, it's just so basic. Do something fun. Do you all cook together, or do you generally want to cook?
We cook together. Yeah.
Do you have a specialty?
I'm a big taster.
And-
He knows when everything is just perfect.
And enjoys making, sauce is so important.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, how you make the red sauce and with the fresh garlic and fresh basil.
No doubt.
And then I come over and I just make sure that I touch it. Because I'm truly Italian and it really tastes. So
All
I have
right.
a great time with it.
Let's see if I'm doing okay here. I'm just putting in maybe a half of a teaspoon of flour because I'm going to get a little bit of a roux going to thicken this up. I put in some hot peppers, salt. I'm going to crack some pepper in eventually. In fact, I'll do that right now. And I'm going to deglaze the pan with a little bit of white wine. So we're just going to add a little bit of white wine to this. Smell that?
Yes.
It's going to be fun and delicious. Let's add now our spinach. And I don't think I need all the spinach, and I'm just using some frozen spinach, which is kind of neat because that way you don't have to go through the process of having to wash it. You don't have to go through, the triple washing of it all. And they've already pre-chopped it already. You know what? I think I am going to do it. We all need a little bit more fiber in our diet, and I don't want this to go to waste. And I think it's going to be great because it's going to give a great color to it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I also did it because I know the spinach has a lot of water that's going to help the sauce from becoming too clumpy and thick. And now with this, we are just about done because now I'm just going to add some, don't look, heavy whipping cream, all right?
This is a low-calorie diet. Low fat.
Exactly, low fat, low calorie, and most importantly, let's just say that it will make you thankful,
There you
All things in moderation. You obviously can't eat this every day.
No.
No. But
If you want to, you have to stay on the elliptical machine for a week.
yeah, exactly. And it's kind of an interesting concept. If you want something, you've got to work hard for it. And if you want to eat a meal like this, you got to make sure that you work hard to stay healthy. Because I think that's another one of those basics to make sure you're healthy enough for the person you love.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just kind of one of those interesting concepts that people forget about. And you can kind of lose yourself because you have someone who trusts you so much. Hey, can you do me a favor? Yeah, the cupcakes. Woo! We got to get that cupcake out of the oven because I know that it was just at that point. The cola skewers are definitely continuing to cook out there. By the way, with the skewers, I put those skewers in some water so that they would stay moist the whole time in the oven so that they don't simply burn up. They look good. That one's mine, all right? The big one right there. All right, this is going to continue to thicken up. What I am going to do, though, is to this already, I had some pasta already cooked up, some linguine, and I'm going to just add it to it so that it warms up. I always cook my pasta very al dente, so that when I repurpose it in a dish like this,
Absolutely.
guess what? It will be the texture that we desire.
Cutting spaghetti and soft spaghetti, no.
Like a big...
Cannot do that.
And I know that this dish is probably a little different from the way you would have it, but again, we don't... Who has exactly the perfect recipe for marriage, the perfect recipe for pasta?
That's right.
No one does.
That's right.
But I can tell you what's going to make it better. Parmesan cheese.
Yes.
So here we go. We're going to add some Parmesan cheese now, and we're going to be rather generous with it, okay? Because we want this to thicken up because this is basically done. Let the heat of the pasta cook up. We're going to be plating pretty soon, and we're going to be eating at home with Jim and Joy.
There you go.
Nice plug. For these romantic suppers, I actually wrote a book called Spicing Up Married Life because I want to encourage couples not to celebrate an anniversary just one time a year. This book will help couples to celebrate a month-iversary. Basically, the chapters are broken up into a bite-sized theological essay that talk about reflections in your marriage life, questions to engage conversation, and of course, a recipe that you can cook together, and even a prayer that you can say. You certainly need to spice up the regular married life, and this book and these recipes can certainly help. Okay, I think we are ready to serve you a nice little romantic meal. I'm going to pull out the skewers that were in this little pepper cup. Let's see what this looks like. Oh my gosh, one of them fell over. but I think we will survive it. But the rest of it, and what I like about this are not just the colors, it's the fact that the peppers themselves are going to retain a nice kind of crunch and al dente-ness to it as well. So what we're gonna do is actually I gotta put the base of the pasta down first. Let me plate up one of these for you here. And what we're gonna do is, oh, look at it, it's nice and creamy, and it's so good for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so a nice little twirl. Put a little bit more of that spinach right on the top there. And here's what I'm gonna do with one of the cola skewers here. Put it right in the middle. The onions have sauteed beautifully. And we're gonna just simply let that kind of settle right in there. I'm gonna let you just share this little plate as I prepare the other one. Come around here. You can break into it. God bless this food. God bless you. God bless all marriages. So you got to eat all of that before you can eat all of that. So give it a little taste test here and sharing the romance of the table while I plate this other one for you guys.
That's so colorful, so beautiful.
You like it?
Oh, it smells so good.
What do you think?
Delicious.
You're not just saying that because I'm also going to do the dishes, are you?
It's delicious.
We taste the love in the meal.
Taste the love in the meal.
Taste the love.
Why don't you taste the love in the dessert?
Now that sounds like fun. This is a cheesecake.
Yeah, a little bit of a cheesecake, but at the same time it's got that Oreo, so it'll be similar to almost like a little cupcake. You might want to even scoop it out too. Yeah. Careful, it might be warm as well. Wait till they get to the spice. It's all about spicing up your married life with some delicious food, with some savoring of the faith, and most importantly, sharing the blessings that you've received, which is love, especially with each other.
Yes.
So I can't thank you enough for joining me. You all are a beautiful couple. You're a lot of fun, and I love the fact that you're good eaters too.
And you're a great cook.
Thank you.
Buon appetito per tutti quanti, and we'll see you next time on another episode for EWTN's Savoring Our Faith.